When it comes to tracking programs, we have some rules that we live by, and we apply them when we approach and develop tracking programs for our corporate clients. One of these rules, the first one, don't think of them as trackers. To us, they are much more like a strategic brand monitor. And there's a big philosophical difference in how we approach traditional tracking. Tracking, by definition, if you think about it, implies looking backwards. It's measuring where you've been. And we develop programs that, as Joel alluded to before, are a strategic asset, right? They are a valuable piece of information to help monitor your strategy, to drive your strategy, and influence the trajectory of your brand. Because for us, it's all about forward looking. It's all about looking ahead. It's all about the state of the brand and the strategy, not just where we've been in the past. The second thing, which is critical to us, question what you think you know. We find sometimes that the best data is created when you challenge your assumptions. As we've mentioned already, consumers and your competition are always changing. So what you knew or what you think you knew even a few months ago might actually mean something different today. It may not be as relevant as it was today. It may have a different meaning than it was today. So we should never just not ask something because, oh, well, we asked that already a couple of years ago and we know the answer, or we talked to our consumers in qualitative a couple of months ago and here's what we heard. We should constantly question what you think you know. And this might mean going back and re-asking some questions from a previous study, or putting other questions in to help validate or change something that you think you know. The third rule that we sort of live by, if you keep asking the same old questions, you're eventually going to stop learning anything new. And this is where the creativity comes in. We're not afraid to change up how we ask a question every now and then. We're not afraid to add new questions to a tracking study or ask different open-end questions. And when we do that, right, we don't just look for, okay, well, this got us a different answer, but if we did get a different answer, we then dig deeper. We like to focus and understand what that difference means. What is that actually telling us about the dynamics of the category, about the way that consumers are thinking about themselves or about your brand or about your competition? That tells you something very important that's going to impact your communications and your other marketing initiatives. Asking a question or an attribute because that's the way that it's always been asked is never a good enough reason. There should be a reason and an intent of every question that's in your survey. And just because, well, that's how we've always asked it, or that's a question that we started asking a long time ago, should not be the only reason. There should be a strategic reason why we're asking it. We want to learn something about this. And if there's nothing that we're going to learn, if there's nothing that we're going to do about this, if the question is no longer relevant, if the question no longer applies or the wording of the question doesn't make sense anymore, then you should have the comfort and the confidence to change it. Numbers are great, but quite frankly, people, consumers are not numbers. They bring to the table different attitudes and values and emotions that are critical to understand if you want to develop a brand that's going to resonate with them. So our monitor programs include qualitative methodologies in addition to the traditional quantitative survey that we'll ask. We ask creatively worded open-end questions, which we will change out constantly to get respondents to talk in different ways, to think in a different way, so that we can dig much deeper into consumer attitudes and really understand what's driving the emotions, the reactions that people are having. And we'll look at social media and we'll look to see what people are saying about our clients and the competition in the real world, right? When they're not participating in a traditional research survey, but when they're just talking, when they're giving comments and feedback. All of that qualitative insight is critical for doing your analysis and for bringing into the story that you want to tell with the tracking studies that you're doing.